All right, you're good.
Welcome to the Eephus. I'm your host, Justin Ledger. As always, I'm joined by Zach Hummel. Zach, another eventful week of baseball. First off, how are we doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Yeah, another big week of baseball, and really some things have stayed the same, and there's some new things to talk about for sure. But concerning the Mets, things have stayed pretty stagnant in the news department.
Yeah, remember when we were saying that things are going to heat up probably end of May? Turns out it's the beginning of May when things are really heating up. We talked last week a lot about the whole Red Sox-Orioles ordeal. I think we both agreed on we didn't really think anything was going to happen. We thought it was going to die down a little bit. Maybe there'd be tensions running high, but nothing would really come out of it because at that time it was I think over a week since anything really happened between these two teams. And then we saw Chris Sale threw behind Manny Machado, which first off, I was so excited watching that because not only the fact that it happened, but the fact that it was Chris Sale. I was really hoping the two would jaw at each other. That didn't happen, but there was plenty of comments after the game from Machado who took exception to it. The one thing I do want to add before we get into that is, Mookie Betts was hit the game before, was he not? Mookie Betts was hit the game before that, and I think Benintendi he almost got hit in the head, right, in the same game. So this whole thing is just so blown. It's the Orioles crying while the same thing's happening to the Red Sox. In my opinion, the whole thing's being overblown because it's Machado and Machado's post-game comments, which we'll get to in a second.
Yeah, I love, as a Red Sox fan, I love that Chris Sale did that just because we've been waiting for a guy on this team to have some balls and, pitch inside on guys and be that leader. And you could see Chris Sale in the dugout who's rallying the guys after it happened. He's like, let's go.
Hyped up.
Yeah, he's like, we're playing pretty bad actually, so let's fucking go and start,
right.
competing out there with the Orioles because in this whole ordeal, the Orioles were kicking the Red Sox ass. Like it wasn't really close. So the Orioles were getting the better of this, head game, whatever was going back and forth. But yeah, Machado sort of opened another can of worms with his comments after the game for sure.
Yeah, Machado's comments, he's talked a lot. I mean, everyone's heard it by now, but we have to cover it. He talked a lot about how it's bullshit. He lost all respect for the Red Sox organization, how he can charge the mound with a bat if he really wanted to, which was a straight up psychopath comment. But yeah, what you said about Sale is so accurate. Seeing a guy like that get fired up, a guy who's not afraid to retaliate, a guy who's not afraid to throw inside, it's reminiscent of Pedro, really. The Red Sox haven't had a fiery guy like this since Pedro. I mean, you could argue Josh Beckett was a fiery guy too, but he was not even on the same planet as guys like Pedro and Sale. So, yeah, it's really exciting to watch. I love it. A lot of people are saying this is like bad baseball, what we saw between the Red Sox and Orioles. In a sense, it got to a point where it was a little pathetic, but it's fun to watch. I mean, it puts asses in the seats, and that's what this game needs.
Yeah, I thought the Gosman getting tossed for throwing a curveball at Bogaerts, that was bullshit. Like, he obviously just sucks at pitching, so he lost control of it and hit Bogaerts. Like, he even admitted, he's like, that was a curveball. Like, I can't control it. And as you said, like, MLB has to do a better job if they want these events to stop, to like start suspending guys from the outset, because until you like actually have consequences for big time players on each team getting suspended, people are going to go back and forth. That's how petty baseball players are in that sense.
Well, but now you're going to see Rob Manfred come down with a ton of rules now, just because he's a rules guy. You know how Rob Manfred is. We talked a bunch about it weeks ago. But now he's going to come down hard on these guys, and then another fun aspect of the game is going to be taken out. I completely get you're not supposed to throw at guys' heads. That's out of line. But if you're going to hit a guy in the ass or something, then, I mean, that's just part of the game. It's always been part of the game. And to take that out, now you're just taking out another fun aspect. Another reason why people tune in is to see these rivalries and see things that, make the game exciting. Not everyone tunes in to watch, I don't know, just some guy hit like a single up the middle, and then the next guy comes up and takes like 10 minutes for an at bat. You know what I mean? People don't tune in for that. People tune in to watch two teams battle it out. So if you take that out of the game, I mean, that's why a lot of these. I mean, Rob Manfred is on my shit list. We'll put it that way. He's a dud. If we could have a dud outside of players, coaches, and teams, Rob Manfred is a dud. So I really hope he doesn't go too hard after the series, because him and Joe Torre were really they even had a conference call with the umpires and everything, and it makes it seem like they're really going to be harsh on offenders of people throwing at batters from this point on.
Yeah, well, like you said, it makes the game more interesting. For example, like it's a stupid game at the end of April, beginning of May, but then you tune in because of this things happening, and then Machado goes deep and pimps his home run. Like that, those are the events. That's the drama that these games are causing, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, we had some drama that was not good to see. That was Adam Jones. This whole situation in the midst of kind of the rivalry, something that happened off the field, apparently, where a fan or maybe multiple fans were saying some sort of racial slur in his direction, blah, blah, blah. I mean, we've heard this story a million times too. There's people who are saying that they want proof that this happened. It happened. Let's be clear. It happened. Adam Jones isn't lying about this.
Yeah. What does he have to gain from lying? Like, what does he have to gain? Nothing.
You know how many games he's played at Fenway? You know how many games he's played at Fenway, and now he's just piping up and saying something now? And he's not saying it. I think a lot of people think he's just saying it because of this bad blood between the two teams. No, he's not. I mean, I actually saw a tweet from, I think it was like 4 years ago, where someone tweeted that people were shouting at Adam Jones back then. Like 4 years ago at Fenway, it was the same exact thing. And now he's just speaking up about it now, and it's good. And I'm glad Mookie Betts, he tweeted that he wanted everyone to give him a standing ovation when he stepped up to the plate, and everyone did. Because it doesn't represent the city of Boston. There are a lot of bad eggs in Boston, but for that to represent an entire city kind of sucks, you know, just have that bad reputation.
Yeah, I mean, I guess people are throwing peanuts at him too, which is just part of like the Fenway. The Red Sox fans are rabid, but anytime you start saying like racial epithets, that's when it crosses the line. And to your point, like when Red Sox players start speaking out against it too, saying they may have heard it in the past, you know, you can't. Just denying it makes it even worse. That's sort of ignoring it. And you never want to do that, especially for something this kind of serious. You know, I would never, if someone was saying that and I was sitting in the bleachers, I'd be like, dude, shut the hell up. Like I would get him kicked out because you don't need that. And especially when there's little kids around. I mean, what kind of example are you setting there? So I think Jones actually handled it pretty well. Like he spoke out about it, but he didn't want to blow it up too much. You know, he kind of said, you know, this is what I felt in Boston, blah, blah, blah. So it's not like he went on some whole like, you know, racial fueled tour on all the media talking about it, but he did bring it up, which I thought was good because bring light to it. That's the only reason. That's the only way it gets solved.
Yeah, and the same people yelling at Jones and saying racist shit to Jones are the same people who cheer on Mookie. So Mookie had to come out and be like, hey, guys, guess what? I'm black too. So, I mean, have some respect. Because when you start doing that, I mean, it just makes the entire fan base look bad, you know? And it makes it look like we're only cheering for Mookie because he's wearing that uniform, not for the player that he is or the guy that he is. So it's unfortunate it happened, but I will say I think that's not something that just happens at Fenway. It can't be. There's places, I mean, I'm sure it happens in Chicago. I'm sure it happens in LA. I'm sure it happens in New York. So, you know, it definitely happens at Fenway. I've never heard it personally when I go there, but it happens. And people need to start realizing that that's what it's like to be a black player. You don't need to be in the Jackie Robinson era to experience that. It's still happening. So it's unfortunate. I'm glad the whole thing's over with, and I think the whole thing was handled well. I think that from this point on, people just need to be better. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's totally on the people. For someone to think that's okay to say in public, I don't care how much you've had to drink. Like, that's just unacceptable. And when you look back on that Boston-Baltimore series, I mean, that was a wild 2 weeks and even a 4-day series last week. It was just unreal how much news was packed into that.
That's why we had to lead off the show with it, even though, I mean, it happened a few days ago, but you can't not lead off this show with everything that happened in that series because it was so eventful. And one thing that was also eventful but got swept under the rug because of this whole series was the Rangers-Astros, the benches clearing. I don't remember off the top of my head exactly what spurred it. That's how like off the radar it was when it actually went down. But one thing I do know is that Brian McCann was just in the thick of it again. This guy is in the thick. This guy's in the middle of every single benches. I would say probably 7 out of the last like 10 bench clearing incidents have been Brian McCann. I don't have the stats off the top of my head, but that sounds pretty accurate.
Stat guys. Yeah, we're not stat
guys. that guy, I swear to God, he's yelling at somebody every month. The guy, like, I've heard from analysts saying Brian McCann's a nice guy. He's one of the nicest guys in the game and everything. But then you just see him. He's one of the most old school players in the game. I can't stand Brian McCann because he has that mentality where it's like unwritten rules. Everything has to be by the book. So yeah, fuck Brian McCann. And but the Rangers to Astros thing, I'm a big fan of that because they're two division rivals similar to the Orioles and the Red Sox that could have some bad blood throughout the season.
Yeah, Brian McCann's one of these classic like Southern guys who wants the game played the right way, similar to like what Ian Kinsler said during the World Baseball Classic, where just they don't get it. They just don't get how to grow the game in terms of that kind of stuff. But yeah, McCann, I mean, he just has a catcher's mentality. Catchers just want to be in the mix. Like that's part of the reason why they're catching. They almost like trying to block, you know, a guy throwing a 99-mile-an-hour fastball in the dirt. They just like to muck it up and be in the mix. Right. And like you said, division rivals, Texas and Houston, they're fighting over the state of Texas. So
right.
It's hot there. You know, tempers can flare. A ball up and in can be interpreted one way. You got Rougned Odor sitting there. And Texas has a lot of guys who have a fiery temper. You got Gomez, you got Odor, you got Gallo. You got guys that'll throw up and in hard, too. So, yeah, I could see that bubbling up even more in future series between those two teams.
And especially because the Astros are the class of that division now. The Rangers had their success last season and the season before that. And now they're kind of coming back to earth a little bit. They're not as good. I knew they wouldn't be as good as they were the past couple seasons. I knew their luck was going to run out. Obviously, it's still May, so we have a ways to go. But those two teams are heading in separate directions. So I think it's more of the Rangers. Their tempers are flaring because they know that, you know, this is the Astros division now. And I think they have sort of a Napoleon complex at this point where it's like they're a bunch of fiery guys who just aren't really that great of a team. So they feel the need to sort of clear the benches and be like, oh, we're the tough guys in this division. So that's what it seems like to me anyways. But anyway, screw Brian McCann is pretty much what I took away from it.
Yeah, they have the same mentality as the Blue Jays now. Like they used to be the class and now they stink and now they just want to fight. Like that's pretty much what their mentality is.
Yeah, the Rangers are just involved in every single brawl or bench clearing nowadays, and same thing with Brian McCann. So it only makes sense that these two teams clear the benches. So we'll see what happens for the rest of the season. On to another topic that I won't even say it's like a huge topic right now. It's something that's not being talked about nearly enough. Is Billy Hamilton versus John Ross might actually be a race that happens, and I would be tuning into that in 2 seconds. Billy Hamilton obviously is one of the fastest players in baseball, if not the fastest. And then you got John Ross, who set the record for the 40-yard dash. I think 4.22 was his time.
Yeah.
So, and Billy Hamilton says he can run a 4.3. So I'm interested to see what would happen there. I don't know. I don't know if this race is actually happening. I did read a report saying Marvin Lewis shot down reports that it would happen. But if it's happening for charity, why not just let it happen? John Ross isn't going to hurt himself running a 40-yard dash. Like, just let it happen. Whatever.
Yeah, you could raise so much money for like I would put probably $50 to charity to see these two guys race because I actually want to see Billy Hamilton race someone really fast because he has good baseball speed, but what does that equal to good football speed? I actually want to see that race. They're both in Cincinnati. I don't know why we just don't set this up. I mean, really, there's no one close to Billy Hamilton in baseball in terms of speed, so he can only really go outside baseball to find a guy that can even match him in that way.
Yeah, I'd definitely be interested in that. And Billy Hamilton against any wide receiver, really. Antonio Brown versus Billy Hamilton, I'd love to see. Yeah. And I guess Usain Bolt is involved in this whole thing now. I read another thing about Billy Hamilton challenging Usain Bolt or something, and Usain Bolt just laughed it off and was like, he has no chance. I agree, he has no chance. Usain Bolt, in that same interview, I believe, went on to say he could beat a Kentucky Derby horse in a 40-yard dash. So I don't know. That Usain Bolt is one of those guys who pops in every now and then with an outrageous statement and then goes away for a little bit until he has a race. So, but I'm entertained by this whole thing. I just love people saying I'm faster than you, and then I want to see them race, though. I want to see it actually happen.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have a 40-yard dash, you ran at the combine versus no one, but like I want to see how fast you are head to head, like lane to lane. you're seeing the other person run. Like you can really, I believe they both could run even faster than what they say they can run just because they're going against someone. And Usain Bolt, he's like that kid in class that hears you speaking about something across the hall, and he's like, oh yeah, that's my thing. Like I know about that. And anytime anyone wants to race anything in terms of humans racing, Usain Bolt wants to be involved, and he'll make an outrageous claim like he can beat a horse, which is not even close to being true.
So I think Bolt runs the 100-meter dash, right? That's what he's most known for because he's a sprinter, right?
Yeah.
I believe that's what it is. So in a 40-yard dash, what do you think the standings are? They all run at once. Bolt, Hamilton, Ross.
40-yard dash. I don't know what that is.
Give me their times, too. Give me their times, what you think they'd get.
40-yard dash. I got to guess Bolt he's got long legs, so I don't think he'd be as fast as people think. I think he'd probably run 4, 2, 3. I think Ross that time at the combine was a fallacy. Like I think something went wrong. I think he's like a 4, 3, 1 guy. And then Hamilton, I don't really have a good idea. He's fast in baseball terms, so maybe I'll give him I think him and Ross will be pretty equal, but I think Bolt would smoke both of them just because his legs are so much longer.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go. I got to put Bolt 1. His track record is just literally his track record. Yeah. No pun intended. It speaks for itself. I would say Bolt would run probably like a 4.15. If I had to just bet a number out there, I would give him that.
Why hasn't he done that? Like that seems like
I don't know.
Easy for him to do.
I think it's just because he doesn't have anything to gain from it. Probably if he loses that race, then everyone's gonna be like Bolt lost the race to another pro athlete. So. But I would put Bolt 1 with that time, and then I'd probably put Ross 2. I agree with you, barely over Hamilton though. I'd probably give Ross 4.3, and then Hamilton like a 4.3, like 8 or something like that. I think Hamilton's really fast. I do agree with you in the sense that he might be slower than slower than we actually think he is because it's baseball speed. To put in perspective, I consider myself pretty fast when I played baseball, and now apparently I run a 5.7. So, that's not very fast for the statisticians out there. I can't even say that word. Statisticians, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
I don't know. We're not stats guys.
Yeah, we're not. We can't even pronounce. That's how much we're not stats guys. We can't even pronounce the word for it. But yeah. So I would love to see you in that race. Maybe Bolt could lap you twice in the 40-yard dash.
If they do race, we might have to post a clip. Like a side-by-side, my 40 with theirs. So keep an eye out. If that happens, I think that's what we're going to do. One guy who definitely would not win that race is Aaron Judge, but I guarantee he'll hit more homers than all three of those guys. He is raking right now. He has 13 home runs at the beginning of May. We've been talking about him a bunch, and rightfully so, because he's raking. He's probably right along with Eric Thames. He's like the Eric Thames of the AL, except he didn't come back from Korea. He's batting .317. His OPS is in the decimal range where I don't even know how to say it. 1.183, 28 RBIs. The Yankees are cruising at the top of the AL East. Do you think? All right. First off, I have 2 questions for you. Does Aaron Judge come back to earth? Does that batting average dip below 260? Because it's at 317 right now. And the Yankees. Do you think this is a flash in the pan? Do you think they come back to earth, regress a little bit? Because the Baltimore Orioles are right behind them at 20-10, and I don't expect them to sustain their success. So I want to know if you expect the Yankees to sustain theirs.
I have no data to back this up, but I think the Yankees have had a pretty easy opening schedule. I just have that feeling because
I think they have too. Except the Cubs. They just played the Cubs and played them pretty well.
Well, I don't even know if the Cubs are good. Like the Red, they're good, but I guess no one's really great in baseball right now, so it's tough to really tell, unless we're playing the Rockies, of course, which we can really compare to. But in terms of Judge, I think he'll definitely finish the season under 260. This is what I was talking about to a couple of my friends last night. Sunday Night Baseball, I don't know if you saw the lead-up last night. They were talking about Aaron Judge like he was Barry Bonds in his 70 home run season. It's like, dude, he's a rookie, and he's had a good start, but he hasn't proven shit yet. Maybe they just need a name to build Sunday Night Baseball around for that specific Yankees-Cubs game. But it's like, can we slow our roll on Aaron Judge? I mean, he still strikes out a ton. I think he'll come back to earth just because pitchers will find a hole in your swing. People will start breaking down the tape, whether it's a breaking ball away or fastball in. yeah, I think he'll definitely come back to earth. The Yankees, I think, are here to stay. I think they're ultra talented, just in terms of their lineup. And once everyone's hitting on all cylinders, even if Judge falls back but Sanchez picks up, still worried about their pitching. But I think they have just as good pitching as anyone else in the AL East, so I think they'll be there to the end.
I agree with you on both points. I think Aaron Judge comes back to earth. I think he's going to hit a ton of homers, but I don't think he can sustain a batting average above 300. I think that's asking way too much of a guy like that. The Yankees, I do think they're going to keep this up. They might even win this division. I think there's a lot of question marks with the other teams in this division, in the AL East. But the Yankees, I thought they had the most question marks entering the season. They might actually have the least. They have great young talent. Their pitching has outperformed their expectations. That's the one question mark. The one blatant question mark they have is that starting rotation. But if they sustain it all year, there's not really that many question marks in this Yankees team. So I do agree with you. Aaron Judge, I think he's going to hit probably plus 40 homers, but that batting average is going to dip. So I guess we'll just have to see what happens. I do agree with you also on the whole hyping up Aaron Judge way too much. His start reminds me a lot, probably more so than Trevor Story, but it reminds me of Trevor Story. Like Trevor Story hit like 1 million home runs in the first 2 weeks of the season, but he didn't really seem to get as much of the hype as Aaron Judge is right now. I
totally agree with you. I just think they're trying to hype Judge because he's literally like probably the biggest baseball player to ever play. Like he's 6'7", 6'8". Like that adds to his marketability. It's like, oh, he's not just a good baseball player. Like he could play. He could play tight end in the NFL. Like he's just huge. So yeah, especially because our over under segment last week we had Judge at like over under 50 40. Yeah. I mean he'll be in that range. He'll be threatening that by the end of the season. Just quickly, we had Ryan Zimmerman hitting over 350. That guy is on a tear. Like he might hit 400. I'm not even lying. Like the way he's swinging the bat, I would not put it past him this way.
Who would have thought this time last year we would be talking about Ryan Zimmerman maybe hitting 350 with like 35 bombs? It's insane. Baseball is the weirdest sport. I don't understand it at all. But whatever. Another thing I don't understand is what's going on with the Mets right now. Talking about two teams going in separate directions, the Yankees and the Mets. The Mets are headed towards a downward spiral right now. I mean, they're staying put in second place in that division for now, which isn't really saying much considering their competition in that division outside of the Nationals. But the Mets are a fucking mess. The title of our episode last week was the New York Mess. This episode is no different. I mean, we have Noah Syndergaard going on the 60-day DL. This comes a week after he refused an MRI, saying he was fine. Next thing you know, he's on the 60-day DL. So you got that going on. You got Yoenis Cespedes still has that nagging hamstring injury to the point where the trainers are literally just trying to figure out why this keeps happening to him. And then you have Matt Harvey suspended 3 games by the team for violating team rules. I think he didn't show up to a team meeting or something. I don't really know. But then you got that combined with this whole dildo situation with Kevin. I don't even know how to say Plawecki. Is that how you?
Yeah, Kevin Plawecki.
There's just a dildo in this guy's locker, which is probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen happen to a baseball franchise. That turned into a huge controversy. So you got all of this stuff going on. Heads have to roll on the Mets now. You got to fire Terry Collins. You got to fire the front office. You got to fire the training staff. You have to fire everybody. The Mets, if I get they're in second place, and that might be drastic right now, but that's all we've talked about the past 2 weeks is how this Mets team is just headed towards a downward spiral. They're not going anywhere.
How funny is it that the Mets are 6-4 in their last 10 games, and so are the Nationals? And we're talking about the Mets. It's literally like the news out of there is so much worse than their record actually is. Like
I know.
Whatever's going on in their PR department is doing a great job because they're literally taking every headline away from the Yankees, and the Yankees are playing extremely way better than them, and the Mets are just eating every New York headline. But quickly on Syndergaard. He's on my fantasy team. I think I might have to drop him because I think this arm injury could be more serious. I honestly think they say 60-day DL and whatnot, and he'll have to rehab. But I think this could be a serious injury. It's
his arm and his lat. It's both. Yeah. He has issues with both right now.
We spoke about that last week.
Yeah.
That's nothing you want to mess with. Cespedes, I literally just think he's taking a golf vacation. He realizes like the team's going down. He's just like, I'm just gonna go play golf. And I'm hearing Harvey. That's where he was. Like he was golfing with his friends, maybe drinking a little bit, which he's been known to do. He got a little headache. Told the Mets that he wasn't going to show up at the ballpark, and didn't show up. So that's what I'm hearing happen. I'm not sure, but Harvey's been known to be a guy around town, like in New York, like a socialite, dating the hottest chicks, partying till wee hours in the morning, but he hasn't pitched well. So it's like, is it really that big of a negative? Probably.
I would say so.
What else they have there.
Exactly. It's the depth. They don't have pitching depth at all. They had Rafael Montero fill in for Harvey, I believe. Oh, no, actually, Montero filled in for Syndergaard. And Montero walks probably an average of 60 batters per game. So when you have that's your next man up, you have issues. It reminds me almost of the Red Sox with Henry Owens. Like that's kind of their next guy up, and that's scary. So the Mets lack pitching depth for sure, and which is crazy that we're saying that because they going into the season had one of the more reliable rotations on paper. Now everyone's hurt. You got Matt Harvey, you got dildos everywhere. So. Very, very tough situation for this Mets team.
It's like they have this couple-year window where they have all these pitchers under like decent contracts until they have to decide who they want to pay, and they literally screw it up. Like they couldn't have screwed it up more. And that Royals World Series, that literally shook these players. Like I think they still
especially Harvey.
They haven't recovered since that. Like they have not played well since that World Series loss. So I think that still haunts them. And to the dildo point, I mean, everyone's saying that they don't know where it came from. Well, it's like a black foot dildo doesn't just show up in someone's locker. Yeah. Like someone put it there. We'll have to find out who it is. I'm sure people will dig in and eventually find out. But it's so funny that TJ Rivera took that photo as they do at the end of every win, where they like give him the crown and whatever for the best player of the game, and there's just a dildo sitting in Kevin Plawecki's locker, and he cries foul like he had no idea that it's been in there.
He was like, this doesn't reflect my views. Calm down, dude. You had a dildo in your locker. That's all it was. Like just
say it was a joke or something and play it off. Instead, he has to like make this statement that he's like against black dildos or something. It's like I have no idea what's going on with them. Yeah, they have no idea what's going on.
I couldn't imagine being a Mets fan right now. What is going on with your team? Like
it's a circus. It's honestly a circus. Yeah.
It sucks. One last point on Harvey. I heard a little rumor. I mean, it's just a bunch of rumors flew when he got suspended because no one knew what was going on. There was a little rumor because he was dating Adriana Lima, and I guess Adriana Lima went to the Met Gala with Julian Edelman. So little situation there, maybe. Julian Edelman being Mr. Steal Your Girl to Matt Harvey, and Matt Harvey getting a little upset, drinking a little bit, not showing up to team obligations. So I don't know. Connect the dots. I don't know.
Yeah, he got cucked. It's like pretty simple. He got cucked.
So Edelman's living the dream right now. He was just at the Kentucky Derby alongside his boys, Tom Brady, Danny Amendola, the whole crew, the whole posse. So that got us to thinking a little bit. If you could pick 3 players to be in your Kentucky Derby entourage, who would they be? 3 current MLB players.
Do you want to go through yours first? Or do you want me to go first?
I'll do mine first. So my 3, in no order, by the way. These are just my boys.
Yeah, your guys.
Josh Donaldson is my first one. Josh Donaldson, because you need that guy who's going to get the party started a little bit, that flashy guy who, he's a wild card. Josh Donaldson's a wild card. He's got that hair. He's got the whole look down. He's someone I want with me at the Derby.
Yeah, there's no rules at the Derby. Like, he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, he's a wild card. He's going to make things very interesting when he's with you at the Derby. My second guy is a guy I just have to be loyal to. He's my boy, Nolan Arenado. Got to bring him along. He doesn't show his personality much. He's stuck out in Colorado. I want him to come with me so we can chat it up. I want to get to know Nolan Arenado, the guy, a little bit.
Sounds like a mandate.
Yeah. Yo, Arenado, let's go on a little date sometime.
Couple of drinks, make some bets on horses.
Yeah, why not? Donaldson, Arenado. My third was a no-brainer. It's Andrew Benintendi. I want to get this guy out, get a few drinks, and go to the Derby. I just want to hang out with Benintendi for a day. or for a weekend. So those are my three.
Yeah, I have Benintendi too. I just think, just from the look of that guy, he looks like he's a good time. Like
He's sneaky parties hard.
Yeah, definitely parties hard. I'm sure some photos will be coming out at him at some Boston nightclub, like doing God knows what. He has a hot sister too, so if she wants to come along on the trip,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Bring everybody.
that's fine. Yeah, he's the kind of guy that girls like flock to. So you get the scraps on that, fine.
Yeah, and Andrew Benintendi, if you want to bring Bryce Brent a lot, because you guys kind of came up in the system together, and like maybe bring his sister too. I mean, she's more than welcome as well.
All right, Bryce Brent's hot sister.
Yeah. I think it's his sister. It's either his sister or his girlfriend. I'm not sure.
I picked a similar guy to get the party going. I picked Evan Gaddis.
That is a hell of a pick. That's a derby. I did not see that coming.
I just feel like bald guys are derby guys. Like, and he had some. I mean, actually, he's probably sober now. He had some issues with drugs and alcohol. So I don't know. I don't want to restart that for him, but he seems like a guy that just can pound and bets the horses. Like, he seems like a horse track guy that I'd want to spend time with there.
Are you going to bring Josh Hamilton along too? Because things could get pretty crazy fast.
Yeah, I don't know if we want any of that stuff, but maybe. I mean, let's get weird.
You never know.
I had Benintendi, and then my third guy, I went with a local guy. I just feel like if you're going to Kentucky, you're going to the horse track, you want a guy that's from Kentucky. I went with Adam Duvall, Louisville guy. I feel like he might know about some of the horses. I'm a big bettor, so I want the inside track. I want to know who's training these guys. I want the inside. What are people saying around the stalls? So maybe Duvall has some contacts that work at the racetrack. So I'll pick Adam Duvall from the Red. He's from my Reds too, who are playing pretty well lately. So
I like those picks, by the way. Those are outside of the box picks. The Evan Gaddis one, blew my mind. I did not see that coming at all. But no, that was good. We're gonna try to do that more often, where it's like current segments like that, or current topics where we can turn into segments. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on if you're a listener. So we'll move on to the usual segments though, which is we'll always start off with the dud of the week. I'll let you go first since I went first for the Derby. Who's your dud this week?
So I kind of teased this on the Eephus Twitter yesterday.
Yeah, you did.
I just saw a highlight of this guy play right field, and he's legit lost. Like, he needs a map to even know how to catch a baseball out there. I don't know why he's in right field, but John Jaso from the Pirates.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
He literally took them. When he started with the Pirates, he looked like a pretty clean-cut guy, and he just took on the whole formula of a Pirate. Like, he looks like Jack Sparrow now with his hair. It's just insane. And it's not like he's playing well. He's hitting 143 this year. He's been terrible. Like, why are they playing him in the outfield? He's 33 years old. He's not athletic. He can barely play first base. And the Pirates will stick him in right field. He doesn't know whether to come in on the ball, go back on the ball, catch it off the wall. I just don't get why John Jaso's still in the major league. So he's my dud of the week.
Not a Jaso fan. He's one of the bigger tryhards at this point. It's something about people who get traded to Pittsburgh or get picked up by Pittsburgh. They suddenly turn into huge tryhards. We saw Sean Rodriguez infamously punching the shit out of the water cooler like it was Rocky VI. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know. Like, these guys just turn into huge tryhards.
I honestly think like no one's getting laid there because the girls are so ugly. So they're just all like pissed.
Yeah.
Like Francisco Cervelli too. He just comes off as a tryhard as well.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of the Pirates. Not a big fan of Jaso. So I like that pick. My pick for dud of the week is Devin Travis of the Toronto Blue Jays. Travis is someone who I had pegged as a breakout candidate this year. I thought if he did well, I thought his success would be, I guess, simultaneous with the Blue Jays' success. In other words, if Travis has a breakout season, I think the Blue Jays are doing much better right now. But he hasn't played a full year of baseball yet, so I thought like this is going to be the first year of his career where he has 160 games or whatever under his belt, and that he would break through, hit like 290 with a good amount of homers. He has some pop in that bat, but not so much this year. He's batting 152 right now with 1 homer. So that's very unfortunate. Toronto fans have to be disappointed with this guy because he just fails to meet expectations year after year, which is Devin Travis was, I thought, maybe even like a breakout, I don't want to say MVP, but like a breakout, like a top player in the AL. I thought he was going to be really, really good this year. So he's my dud of the week.
Yeah, I was high on Travis too. He just hasn't lived up to the hype, which stinks for the Blue Jays because I think they put a lot of stock in him being like a 300 guy, like 20 home runs, 80
Right.
RBIs, and he just hasn't been that guy.
Yeah, not at all. So those are the duds of the week. We'll move on to don't call it a comeback. Um, yeah, I'll go first for this one. I wanted to save it, but I can't hold it in anymore. My comeback of the week is Eric Gagne. Uh, so he's 41 years old. He's apparently trying to make a comeback. He signed a deal with the Long Island Ducks. They're a independent league team, and they're notorious. They're known for signing guys who are trying to make comeback. They actually signed Dontrell Willis back in 2013.
Gotta sell tickets. Gotta sell tickets.
Exactly. So they signed Dontrell Willis in 2013. Obviously, that didn't go very well for Willis. I mean, he tried and failed. Probably same thing will happen with Gagne here. Like I said, he's 41 years old, and he's not rocking the glasses anymore.
Oh, really?
If you're Eric Gagne, how are you not rocking the glass? He looks like a completely different person. He looks like he's slimmed down a little bit, no glasses. He's not Eric Gagne if he doesn't have the glasses on. So, but that's why don't call it a comeback. Keep an eye on Eric Gagne because I guess he's really starting to take this seriously, and he was in the World Baseball Classic on Team Canada. So,
really?
yeah, so keep an eye. I guess minor league teams kind of are, well, obviously major league teams were looking to sign him to minor league deals. So keep an eye on Eric Gagne, 41 years old. Maybe he'll come in and help a bullpen. Maybe he'll come in and help the Nationals out a little bit. They need some bullpen help.
Yeah, if Gagne doesn't have his rec specs and he's not doing steroids, he's pretty much worthless to me.
Right.
So he better figure out his brand quickly.
Yeah, 100%.
My don't call it a comeback is more of a sort of a thing, I guess. I guess it's for me. It's we discussed it earlier, but it's Boston being called the racist city. Like,
yeah,
don't call it a comeback, but it's back. Like,
it's back.
It rears its ugly head every couple of years where something happens in Boston and the whole city gets sort of generalized as a racist place, which it's literally the complete opposite. It's just a couple of loudmouth assholes that ruin it for everyone. I guess CC Sabathia came out today and said he hasn't been called the N-word anywhere in Major League Baseball other than Boston. So everyone just piles on when these things happen, which is understandable, but it's like he wouldn't say that unless the Jones thing was going on.
Exactly.
So it's like it's tough to take account for some of these things. Like Jones thing definitely happened, but everyone piling on, I understand it's a history of things sort of culminating to this, but it seems to rear its ugly head every couple of years, and I'm kind of tired of it, to be honest. So, but it starts from like the people just changing. You just gotta make it so this stuff isn't acceptable anymore.
CC Sabathia coming out of nowhere actually ticked me off a little bit. He's an African-American Major League Baseball player, which is pretty tough right now. There aren't many that you can name really off the top of your head. And obviously they face these racist fans, which it definitely happens everywhere. I don't care what CC Sabathia says, but to come from the clouds now only because the Adam Jones thing is happening and just chiming in with, oh yeah, I've heard that before in Boston too. Dude, stay out of it. You don't hear Andrew McCutchen saying anything. You don't hear Starling Marte, these other African-American players who are just, you don't hear anyone else piping up about it. It's Adam Jones's situation. Stay out of it. I don't know. That's just my opinion on it. Don't get me wrong. No one should be saying that stuff to CC Sabathia or anybody, but Sabathia, this isn't your beef. Stay out of it. Don't try to be like the Martin Luther King of baseball. No one wants to hear it. It's Adam Jones's situation, not yours.
Yeah, I almost think like people don't really understand like being a Boston fan, living in Boston, being a fan of the Red Sox, like it's like people's life. So it's like sometimes probably their fandom gets the best of them, and maybe they aren't racist to start with, but they have a couple of drinks and they literally are just berating Adam Jones and they just say the N-word. I mean that wouldn't happen if like to me, but I know some older people that might happen to. It's just terrible that comes up, and props to Jones for speaking up. But yeah, we don't need all these people from the cloud sort of piling on when they weren't with the movement in the outset, pretty much.
It sucks because people have these days don't have a brain. They generalize everything. So now they're just generalizing the entire city of Boston, which is so unfair because, I mean, believe me, I know there are racist people here just like there are anywhere else, but just generalize an entire city and be like, Boston is racist. That sucks. That's just a bad look, and it's pretty unfair. That's what it comes down to, really. Yeah. We'll move on to when you're hot, you're hot. We'll wrap it up there. I'll let you go first with this one. Who is your when you're hot, you're hot this week.
Yeah, this guy came out of the clouds to me. I don't really even know who he is, but he's been tearing it up for the Dodgers. Cody Bellinger.
Yeah. All right, so that was mine too. So
he's
perfect.
He's a 21-year-old. This past week he's hitting 430 with 3 dingers, 12 RBIs, and he's like a Craig Counsell swing, but he actually has pop with it, which is unbelievable. Yeah. He's hitting balls out of the ballpark that look like pop flies, which that's usually a test of someone's power. Benintendi has sort of the same thing where it looks like a pop fly and it just is a bomb out of the ballpark. So keep your eye on this Cody Bellinger kid coming up with the Dodgers, another great young player from their system.
Yeah, so that's who I had as well. He came into the picture when Adrian Gonzalez got put on the disabled list, which is actually, that's the first time Gonzalez has ever been put on the DL in his career. He's been around for a while, so that's pretty impressive. But this gave Cody Bellinger an opportunity to succeed. He's actually the number 10 overall prospect in baseball right now, which is something that I had no idea about. But before the season, he was ranked number 10 overall prospect. I like to keep in touch with like who the top prospects are, and I still don't know who this guy is until he bursted on the scene right now with the Dodgers. So I'm rooting for him. I hope he keeps this up. He plays first base along with left field. So I hope he is that guy who sort of takes over for Adrian Gonzalez, because clearly Adrian Gonzalez is declining while Bellinger is bursting on the scene right now. So I'm not saying Gonzalez's career is over or really close to it, but you're going to see a lot more opportunities for Bellinger to be on this when you're hot list for a long time at just 21 years old. So, he's a guy I'm definitely going to have my eye on, because Dodgers are actually one of my favorite teams to watch. Bellinger, definitely when you're hot, you're hot.
Let's hope he doesn't like follow the same track as Jock Peterson, who kind of like had a great couple first season and then he sort of fell off the map in terms of batting average and all that good stuff. So this kid, hopefully he can figure it out when pitchers start to figure him out.
Yeah, hopefully. So we'll wrap it up there. As always, subscribe to us on iTunes. Follow us on Twitter at Eephus Pod. As always, we'll be posting videos, a lot of content there. We have a lot more planned for this podcast, so definitely give us a follow now while we're on the rise. Like us on Facebook. And other than that, Zach, I don't know if you have anything else, but I think we can wrap it up there.
No, it seems like Monday night's games, always something crazy happens after we record the podcast. So tune in tonight to MLB because something crazy will probably happen.
Yeah, we almost saw a cycle also again this week for the third straight week. I forget who it was, but I was like falling asleep with MLB Network on, and I heard in the back of my, like, you know how you just kind of, you're falling asleep and then you just hear something and then then you just pass out. I heard someone just missed hitting for the cycle. I don't know who it was, but just be on the cycle watch. Cycles are hot this year. So next week, that might be what we talk about, because they seem to happen right after we're done recording. So we'll see what happens this week, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. We will see you guys later.
All right. Peace.